Good morning, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir. Mishra, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to be sure that
Yeah, sir.
I
Uh,
I am being I am audible. Now,
I,
second is I cannot share anything in this meeting.
nee, I'll,
So,
I'll make you co-host so that you can share your.
yeah, please.
Yes, sir. Just give me 2 minutes.
Okay.
Please see, sir, now. May I start, sir? Sir, but you are not audible. एक मिनट कर दिया करो हो रहे उधर से ही तो काम है उनको क्या रीजॉइन करें
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. Audible, sir. Audible. Thank you.
Yeah. So audibility part is solved. Now share part is what I hope it is solved, because it was giving me a roundabout access and then it has landed me into my folder. Now I'm just searching my file.
No problem, sir. No problem. You take your time, please.
And when you are in this situation, you come to know that, okay, presentation. Here are all presentation. Why power system operation isn't visible? Should be visible by now. No, it is not giving me access. Let me retry it.
Or you can rejoin, sir. If you rejoin, I think.
Yeah, maybe I'll rejoin, then it will. One last try.
Sir, please open your presentation first and then share the full screen, I think.
Now it has landed me into my. But I'm not able to locate the presentation itself. Maybe you can share from your side.
So if you send it to me, sir, then please.
I have emailed it in the morning.
Okay, sir. Just give me 2 minutes. I share it. All right. Did you? Yeah, ये तो CV है ना? Huh?
No.
Just a minute, sir.
Okay.
Just a minute. Let me locate the presentation. ये मैं तो मेरे पास इनकी मेल चेक करना है सर। नहीं आपने भेजी है? जस्ट हाँ। Is it visible, sir?
Yes, it is visible.
So should we start?
Yeah, sure.
So
Hello. Yeah,
uh,
please go ahead.
let's start our first session of this program. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Shri Arun Mishra ji, ex-director of UPSLDC, Uttar Pradesh State Road Dispatch Center, Lucknow. It's an honor to introduce our speaker who brings over 4 decades of rich experience in the Indian power sector. Starting his career as a project engineer with National Thermal Power Corporation at the Kawas Gas Power Project in 1985-86, he later focused on power system monitoring and control, contributing significantly to landmark initiatives like the SCADA and EMS program and leading the Unified Real-Time Dynamic State Measurement project in India. After superannuating from POWERGRID, he served as director of the UPSLDC from December 2023 to September 2025, gaining valuable operational insights. Earlier, as a director of the National Smart Grid Mission project, his work in policy formulation and system modernization added a new dimension.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So should I begin?
Yes, yes, sir.
Because in the somewhere when you were finishing, there was some discontinuity. Good morning to all. Sorry for the technology which we are trying to master and which will always trip us, mostly because of the handshake requirements. So we are already late by 10 minutes. My apologies for some of that. Thanks first to the Thapar Institute for inviting me to share my experience in this endeavor to be better prepared for tomorrow. And I would like to caution while I speak myself as well as the other participants that when it comes to power system technology, you are in good hands, much better than mine. with Professor S.C. Srivastava from IIT Kanpur, taking it one of the session, and of course, Dr. Vikash Pal, who has recently been selected as chair of IEEE Power Engineering Society. So you are in much better hand if there is technology conflict. I'll not dwell into the area, but then even then, I would like to give a caution. And my endeavor will be to share my perspective with you, how you see and appreciate power system. That's a cognizance problem as well. When it comes to cognizance as well as biases, the only two examples come to my mind. One is when there was this Coca-Cola advertisement first time in UAE, and the advertiser could not figure out that why there is a backlash or cold shoulder, because he never understood that putting three panels from left to right gives an entirely different meaning to those who read from right to left. Of course, I also read from right to left, but only in some 5-star menus. Otherwise, I'm with the left to right. That's where my cognizance is. And when we talk of cognizance, we have to understand the incidents in World War II, wherein an attempt to strengthen the aircraft of Allied forces, someone alerted them that please do not focus on the area where you see the bullet mark, because the plane did survive that area. What you have to focus is for the planes which did not come back. So they were mortally hit. And that's where I rest my case. That's where I share my experience as perspective. And it is most important when we are preparing for future, because energy is basic requirement and electrical energy is most efficient, and we have to master it. Who masters? One step at a time. Either the government, then it may exclude some, or the utility, then it may profiteer. But it is the society which has to master it. And society masters through it people. People who are shaped by teachers. And here the program aims at building faculty. So I think I'm at the right place, but to share my experience about power system. When we say, so my first slide is about the grid. Does it constitute the grid? That comes to my mind, having been in this field for so many years. Next slide, please. Yeah, but then I have observed it, I have been with it, so it comes to my mind. Can everyone have same picture? Those who have not seen a caterpillar to transform to a butterfly can never imagine. That's the challenge. As a teacher, you will be trying to figure out for the future power system engineers. And as an engineering, what we say is, when you master a car or car's control, understanding its dynamics is easy. You can see, sometimes you experience without toppling over. Your seating position is designed by engineering. Your grip and steering track is something which you can learn. Acceleration control and braking. As far as braking technology is there, you can have an acceleration control. That is engineering the overall system. And if you understand that overall engineering, you can speed on good roads. And if there are disciplined road users, yes, still you can have that occasional indisciplined road user with brakes which are provisioned and functional. That's engineering acumen. And having a seat belt saves life. and it takes time for everyone to agree to that. You may still find people resisting seat belt despite having gone through a news article where the rear seat passenger died and front seat passenger survived on a head-on collision, the difference being the front seat passengers were all belted. So that's about learning, that's about people, behavior change, and we are trying to understand a power system which is not visible. Everyone will not have all part of its experience, but we have to be prepared for that future. Next, please. The building blocks of power system: generators, of course, those who produce thermal, hydro, nuclear, solar, wind, battery with all their idiosyncrasies. Consumers, home, factory, infrastructure, rail, data center, communication with their reliability requirement. Agriculture, which is left in the last, but sometimes makes a big difference to the governance formation. Then connectors, the grid, transmission, distribution, last mile. Next, please. Problem of power system operation and control is individual elements simple connection doesn't make power system. Only their synchronous interconnection state establishes a power system. And that's it. The generation and load, maintaining load generation balance within permissible limits as a whole while maintaining node voltage and reasonable angular separation between adjacent node. And if you know the node voltage and relative angular position, you have the state which is estimated. Of course, now you can measure with all the technology. This is as simple as that. Next. The speed of change in the system is milliseconds, and elements are not at one place. And they have automatic right to recuse from participation over voltage if they feel that they are connected to the wrong one, so fault side, so they'll auto disconnect. They may auto disconnect if they have high temperature, and though that's where protection comes in. So that's more about elements. It has nothing to do with power system, but it impacts the power system. Efforts have to be made to ensure system remains healthy and load generation balance is maintained despite these independencies. So that's where the role of mean time between failure, mean time to repair, and everything else comes in. Institutional discipline, and how institutions conduct themselves. That's where the controls. So some of the controls are on institution. That's what, how, and who does it. Next, please. Grid operation is ultimately, so that's why you see it's a planning, network, customer, everything has to be planned. Then of course, there is scheduling. So what we will be online today, shutdown, fuel, festival, for the load, everything has to be planned. Monitoring and execution do as planned, all periods. So when we talk about periods in our typical system is there are 96 blocks. All load dispatchers will tell you they are trying to multiply it by 3, basically bringing down by 5 minutes. Sometime next 3-5 years that transition may happen. And real time, you have to continue to see planned versus actual. That's the only thing a load dispatcher does, including the quality and managing it. So you manage it if you see that the system is on the brink, there is demand response, there are generator to be orchestrated and whatnot. Next, please. That's grid operation. Core cycle of all this operation is, let me first dwell a minute on cycle. So every cycle for survival is you plan, you do as per plan, then you check and then act on the deviation. Check whether where your plan is failing and act on it. So every day on hour to hour, minute to minute action is at load dispatch centers. That's the experience I was missing, and that's where I went to the Lucknow to be one-to-one with it. The longer cycle, month, quarter, and year. That's where utilities end, where or utility forums end. Regional Power Committee, Forum of Load Dispatcher, regulators, commission, asset owners. You would have come across their name. That's only picturization of same. Establish objective, process necessary to deliver result. That's the planning. So, and then of course implement the plan, execute the process, make the product, or make the things happen. Here the product is energy and instantaneous power. He studied the actual results. So that's where there are so many analysis and historical people are statistics are required to be mastered. Corrective action based on those insights. Apply the change in the plan. Next, please. The entities which contributes are of course individual asset owners who build and maintain equipments which have grid compatible behavior. CA defines the asset parameters for built and as well as operation. Then utilities maintain resources to operate the grid element. So that maintenance sometimes comes into question. There are reviews of those activities, manpower, coal, minimize simultaneous resource depletion, so outage planning there, restore the elements on priority, then forecast the requirement and maintain those things. Load dispatch centers, that's the place where these activities are coordinated in the last week, days, and hours. Next, please. CEA, that's a annual and policy body setting technical rules of the system, analyzing incident and trends, including the asset incidents, even the power system operation incidents, guiding for vetting and new solutions. Regulators setting commercial rules of engagement, adjudicating between stakeholders in case of dispute, setting new requirement to guide sector for future goals, be it the limit and trajectory of AT&C losses, be it the open access, be it the green energy goals and their achievement. Government setting framework and guidelines through regulation, act, intervening to evolve standard operating procedures. Recently, CA through CA they have intervened for scheduling activity, resource allocation, power, coal, quota of generation, floating power to take care of the regional as well as seasonal imbalances, establishing new entities to enhance breadth of solutions. So that was Solar Energy Corporation of India as recently. Next, please. Operation and control, that's the last leg. I have repeated it multiple times. That's 24/7 load dispatch centers. India has grown from city to statewide to region. I think I have one more slide here. Almost all states have a load dispatch center supervised by respective RLDCs and overall monitoring and control at NLDC level. Next slide, please. Yeah, here it is. We began our electricity or power system on regional basis in 60s. Before that, of course, there are private entities or a state electricity board. The state grids connected to form 5 regional grids, north, east, west, northeastern, and southern. Then regional load dispatch centers were established for coordinating across them. 90s saw national grid planning and formation. Initially, regional grids were connected through HVDC, be it in the prominently one by the east and north, and of course from south to east. 91 northeastern and eastern region they were directly synchronously connected. 2003 West joined the eastern and northeastern grid through HVDC. 2006 North grid synchronized and forming central grid with the west and east synchronized grid. And of course Southern grid synchronously connected in 2013. One nation, one grid and one frequency. Next please. Then of course we have a journey from 9 to it is continuing. Market reforms and operation. Power System Operation Corporation was established for independent and impartial grid operation, evolving into fully independent status as grid controller of India in 22. And of course, open access regulation, electricity trading market emerged in 2000, fostering competition and efficient power exchanges. Renewable integration and modernization, that's government initiative 450 gigawatt by 2030. We had 175 by 22. We are crossing 200. And of course, that's the period where upgrade of SCADA and my host of my experiences there, establishing unified load dispatch and communication scheme of SCADA and EMS. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3 is now implementation. Smart grid programs, battery energy storage is now being seeing light of the day. And of course, international connections with with Bhutan, then Bangladesh. Others are planned. Nepal is, of course, acting as a load, some being synchronized as well. Next. Next, please. Yeah, so this gives a different perspective that underlying power system is one, but then entity-wise there is change. So when power system, as I've already defined, the problem is of multiple geography, millisecond activity. So when alignment was initially through entities, so state electricity board, initial state, everyone is owned by same party. Then of course, presently we have generators, they can go in different direction, transmission, distribution can go different direction. Consumers, of course, have always been independent. That's why load forecast and following the load is operation of power system. Emerging state is, of course, distribution, directly transmission, and consumer, transmission, distribution, merging. Next, please. So you will have more, we are presuming more flexibility and more or less the control of transmission percolating to distribution systems, more commercial activities and independent decision at distribution level as well. So the, the ultimate and most advanced and the smart one is transmission and distribution. They work seamlessly. So there is enough to and fro for full flexibility to distributed energy resources and central generation, and of course consumer connected on either side. Next, please. Next slide, please.
Let's adjust it.
Yeah, okay. Okay, it's trying to play out. My apologies. So how the things will change. The next slide is about the power quality, which is basically three things: voltage, VAR, load generation balance, so frequency, and of course harmonic control. So having laid out the overall system, this is the quality where power system operation control has to focus. Voltage and overall VAR consumption, load balancing, so frequency has to be maintained. For a change in our country, the frequency is a range for currently 49.95 to 50.05. Earlier, the band was much larger because we are slowly getting to the discipline and being resource, what should I say, adequate resource. So as late as 2020, grid code said that we should go for free governor mode of operation. Then of course harmonic controls. Next, please. So as an operation insight, while describing all these, it seems that there is single power system, and yes, there is single power system, but the challenge at different level could be different. And next couple of slides are all about that. This slide depicts the say as recent. This is from the data from NLDC, where the 7th August data is available. So 7th August was maximum demand met day. So what you see here is a load which started in the mid of the night at more than 200 a time, and of course dropped for just less than 200 around 4-5 a.m. Then evening peak around 16 hours. It peaked to 230, and of course the traditional evening peak which again dropped down to 18, around 18 hour to 215, and peaked and plateaued from 225 onward in the night. So overall, off peak to peak national, they need a flexibility of 86% if this day plays out. Of course, this day doesn't plays out. There are different days, more extreme, less extreme, but that's beside the point. That's the spread of time. I'm saying the same day. When there is no spread of time, different entities have a different picture. The right one is about the region. So if you focus on northern region, which is my focus area, so it goes from 72 gigawatt to down to 64.5 gigawatt, then rises to just below 80, 77 gigawatt, and of course touches like 80 gigawatt dead of the night. Not really dead of the night, but peak around say 22 or so. Next slide, please. So, but that's a so I think I missed it. The regional variation is 86. The regional variation is 80%. Should I say regional peak of peak is 86%. So variation is 14%. And also northern region is 80%, so 20%. National is 14%. Regional variation is 20%. Now come to the state. Next slide, please. This is the state of Uttar Pradesh. I missed in writing somewhere here. Okay, so off peak to peak is 60%. So we need a state area need 40% flexibility. That's the kind of variation is challenge variation itself. So that what you should appreciate is the breadth and the overall speed is more attuned at national and regional, but the challenges at the states are much more different and difficult. Next, please. Operational insight collective on that day, how the solar behaved. So what load dispatchers were doing, they were pumping or stripping down through schedules the thermal and others that you can see, and then of course giving them instruction to peak up later in the day. Next, please. National energy picture, if you see this picture for the month of August comes at peak of 225, solar is 60, wind is 8, maximum 30%. So at peak, solar wind account for 18% of energy. But if you see the variable renewable energy otherwise, it might be contributing more. In the state, so Gujarat and Rajasthan are having a tough time that way. Next, please. So to address this challenge, flexibility is needed in power system. Flexibilities of power. What is instantaneous power is megawatt. That's what I showed in second last slide. Flexibility of energy for managing the entire day, and flexibility of transfer capacity, that is overall power transfer capacity across region to state, and of course for flexibility of voltage for your ability to control local voltage. And if these flexibilities do not exist or they are not orchestrated time, you do not have a reliable power system. Next, please. How they play out on sub-second, second, and minutes. Please, next click, please. So this slide is okay. So and what all activities, like grid stability ramping up in sub-second, PQ management against say sub-second to minutes, seconds, and of course demand response in minutes and hours. Flexibility for voltage voltage may wait for a minute if it gradually increasing, otherwise within seconds an element may go, but multiple element will go after some time So that's the breathing time given. Transfer capability or congestion management is hour to day, where demand response plays. And of course, flexibility for energy is days to sometime within days, hours also, but days to season. And of course, portfolio management is played out by entities like distribution companies and sometimes other entities as well. Next slide, please. So this recaptures the overall scenario and what happens across the value chain, across the entities, and across the timeline. So I'll leave you with those details where it is only the only new information is that load your dynamic relaying. That's an area where unified real-time load dispatch scheme is trying to give insight to the load dispatcher. It is not yet practiced. It is only in the realm of learning by the system operators. And local generation or EV battery is an area which is again planning to deployment stage, not widespread. Some distribution companies, a couple of them, Delhi I know of, they have some source there. Next, please. Season to year, month to season, we are only honing the skills. Continuously it is happening. And bilateral trade as well as the trade in exchanges happening. Even in the exchange, recently there has been a future launch which may act for, as a trigger, as a shoring up for your energy arbitrage across seas, if not season, within month across the entities. Next, please. Now this brings us that this all are activities and maturity which is going on. But what we have introduced is variable renewable energy. And when it comes to variable renewable energy, what happens to the system if please play these things. Next, please. I guess this slide is dynamic as well. If you have played out all of them, go back, please. Go back. Yeah, so let it play out. So phase one, if renewable energy is less than 10%, it no noticeable impacts. If it is 10 to 20%, in that range, there is more minor to moderate impact. But there are phase three when it determines the operation pattern of system. So our regional, national, or these state, the operation pattern is being defined by renewable energy. That's where we are. And in seasons of high renewable energy, we are in phase four. That there are period where renewable energy make almost all the generation for some small area. Of course, we have not reached phase 5 or phase 6, where renewable energy may impact seasonal or growing surplus in days and weeks. But this is where the different phases, demand response or time of the day or season should play out as far as an initiative. So we are in the right phase. We anticipate that our regulators will be more active in these two areas. And as things play out, you will find new regulations and new requirement in this phase, in this area, in this domain of power sector. Next, please. So where this at the national level, of course, an attempt has already been made where for taking care of power balances, ancillary services has been launched, and these are in the realm of frequency control. They can be, of course, leveraged for voltage control and black start, but primarily frequency control services exist in our system. Primary is through new grid, new electricity, new grid code. The pre-governor mode of operation has been mandated. in the grid code. Secondary and tertiary reserves are regulated from December 22 and from June 23 onwards. So these are orchestrated by NLDC and RLDC, and there is a detailed calculation that how much at every area will be required, which I have shared for a deep dive in the next few slides. How the power system engineers come with the numbers. Next, please. Oh, it's not displaying correctly. Regulatory provisions. Mandates are coming from, say, nodal agency, RLDC, and CERC's regulations. So, hello? I'm not able to hear. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible, sir. We a request to the participants. We will take question and answer after the session.
Okay. Yeah, or that will be convenient for all, I hope. So mandate for regulation came, then CRC has come out with 23 regulation for tertiary as well, where the positive and negative secondary reserve capacity of any control area for a calendar year shall be equal to 99% of positive and negative area control error, which has been observed in the previous financial year. Next, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is where the frequency control as teleservice primary blueprint. Secondary reserves are from 15 minutes onward. From up to 5-minute primary control, the AGC takes care of it. Synchronous inertia takes up to 45 seconds. If on the top you are seeing the renewable energies or runoff for frequency, rate of change of frequency, so there are load which get shed in case of higher rate of change of frequency. And of course, if there is low frequency, then under frequency release act. So that's within 5 minutes. The load part is on the top, and of course, active energy part from the primary control of frequency, a free governor board operation comes in. So that's within 5 minutes, the thing should stabilize of their own. There are no human interventions. All human interventions are to take care that things do stabilize within this time period. Otherwise, we don't have a power system. They should automatically stabilize. Currently, automation is mostly available at the high voltage and bulk power system level. But as renewable gets in and is spread out at the edges, that automation will have to be honed, understood, and deployed all across the power system. If not at 415 volt, definitely at 11 and 33 kV, where at least in the area where critical loads like hospitals or control centers or transports are connected. So that's the journey which we are in. Next 5, 10, 15 years will be exciting in that, and everything will contribute. And I think today's electrical engineers are in that sweet spot. So this slide captures the delineation of time, activity area, and what happens continuously. Next, please. I think this we have captured. So there are regulatory orders and there are procedures around that. Detailed procedure for secondary reserve ancillary services December 22, or tertiary reserve ancillary services April 23, and of course assessment and procurement and reserve September 23. So this as procedure for assessment and procurement and how that plays out is in next slides. Next, please. Yeah. So reserve estimation and planning. This is the 99 percentile part of it. Year ahead, you have to look back at our operation and then see what's the area control error that may be contributed by load forecast error or the generation wind forecast error or solar forecast error or for that matter because of MTTBF, MTTR, mean time between failure and repair of elements, forced outages or schedule leaps because of inter area. The schedule leap is, you see, when if you can recall or go back to the state car of UP, in the evening peak, you see 150 megawatt per minute ramp up. Now to manage that ramp up in 15-minute time blocks, the schedules are given to generator. So sometime time block to time block, 7:15, 7 to 7:15, or say 18:15 to 18:30. The schedule for the area will be jumping by say 2000 megawatt. So that jump will schedule leap and that leads to sometime area control error for few minutes prior and later to the quarter boundary of the artificial blocks which we have created around scheduling. Next, please. So this, when we analyze it, what we find is when 99% of the time, if we can address, we'll make overall there will be whatever reserve we keep, they will be used. If we try to address the 100%, that is 1% of extreme event also. So that situation may not play out in future and we may not actually use those reserve. So keeping reserve while never using it is wastage of committed resources. So all reserves try to address 99 percentile of overall error, area control error historically seen. So that's the idea behind it. Next, please. So reserve requirement estimation, this is how it plays out. Data of state control area and regional control area is analyzed for the calendar year, calculating 99 percentile, scale based on the regional variation also, calculate the diversity factor, so whether there is a co-area, so error in the state, whether it is co-located with the error of region. And the maximum correlation is what we try to address. And computation of secondary and tertiary reserves are undertaken at RLDC and SLDC level. Next, please. So tertiary requirement at state level is state requirement and 50% of largest unit size. So that's for reliability. Next, please. Balance 50% is expected to be mitigated by the regional connectivity. So this is overall the overall process flow. 99% of validation, then scaling, then secondary reserve requirement, then apportioning within the overall ISGS, that are interstate generating stations, that's 50%, and or the drawal pattern, and of course within the state based on what we generate. So that's how the overall requirement is calculated and provisioned for. Next, please. I think this captures the detailed calculation of Uttar Pradesh. The next slide will better give you an idea. You can skip. Next, please. This is about the overall region. So there exists. So ultimately, the RLDC comes up with these values. You can see these values on their website as well, which sets the yearly plan and activity charter for SLDCs. Next, please. So this is detail of the calculation. Next, please. That summarizes what we have already gone through. Next, please. They had basis how the assessment is done within a state, so 7th August, 1st August to 7th August, how we have done, and how that 11th August time frame comes in. So that's a further fine printing of overall calculation. Next, please. So this was the suggestion from regional to the state, where the states they have to start maintaining. Currently, they are not really maintaining year ahead as well as day ahead planning, diurnal probability saving DSM, or of course, coordination with SLDC while scheduling. Blocking the reserve is now going to be part of regulation and part of the check, and penalties built around it. Next, please. So that's the evolution of the grid, which is parallelly happening. Next, please. Sample. This is the sample area control error of Uttar Pradesh. That and how we have come across the requirement of 800 odd megawatt for the reserve. So this picture gives whether we are operating balance. If there is more to the left or right, that means we are, if there is more to the left, area control is over generation, so we can be more aggressive. If there is more to the right, less, then we can be shifting our operating points so that we are less dependent and burden on the region. So that's the kind of insight that gets generated from overall analysis. Next, please. That happens in background on day-to-day basis. So this overall operational deep dive, what is happening in the power system control arena, how the controllers are being given insight and regulations to continue to work for ever increasing speed and of course accuracy. Now, having done that, the system has realized that overall power system operation and control, while it is, we are fine refining the approach, methodology, regulation, as well as the tools available. There is one important factor which is somewhere getting lack of attention, and that is the workforce. So there was a debate. Of course, there was guideline which existed right from time immemorial, but they have recently been re-articulated as part of workforce adequacy guideline, and they have been emphasized time and again with the type of load dispatch centers categorization, which are 3 large, medium, or emerging load dispatchers. So large should be having 144, medium around 102, 3 people, and of course emerging SLDs is up to 60. These are the kind of people who will have to continuously work in the background for our ability to have an effective power system operation and an efficient control, which is efficient in terms of ultimate delivery of time and reliable power to the consumer. And these people or these executives will have to be skilled in area of power system operation, power system reliability, market operation, energy accounting, which gives all the insight for analysis, regulatory compliances to make sure that our cycle of plan, do, check, and act is always active, renewable energy integration, expanding the envelope, how far we can go, how can we go to 20%, 30%, 100% in some area, sometime, and of course power system logistics, so that all the tools, SCADA, EMS generations are available, And when we are introducing more and more tools, we have to be conscious about cybersecurity as well. That's the overall nutshell where it was. Next, please. The next change is coming for in power system operation control is in the Electricity Act 2025 draft consultation paper is already out, which is trying to have more guardrails around mandatory reflective tariffs. So it is more focus on creating tight checking the regulations, complete elimination of cross subsidy for manufacturing, railways, metro. A state commission can exempt some area of distribution licenses for universal service obligations, so they can create sandboxes for more experiment and allowing multiple distribution licenses in that area, empowering SERCs to establish market, and of course accountability and measures for CRC and SERCs members. So that's where I would like to stop my delivery and open the platform for question and answer. Thank you. Thanks for your attention, please.
So participants may write their questions in the chat box. If somebody want to ask, he may ask online as well. Please unmute and ask, but one at a time, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon,
So
Akash.
myself, Akash Deep, and I just had one question. Sir, you mentioned about the thermal unit commitment. So
Yeah.
why are not we planning about hydro unit commitment also?
You see, thermal unit commitment is planned and hydro is not planned because of a simple classical understanding. Of course, that classical understanding, there are ways now it is coming up, but it's not yet that common. So thermal unit commitment is planned because when you start a thermal unit, there is a period of say 2, 3, 4 hours till it comes up to the level where it can contribute. And secondly is whenever a thermal unit is decommitted, so there is a residual energy. That energy ultimately goes waste if you have not, less staggered it, slowly come to close. So these are the classical reasons why thermal unit commitment has been in vogue. As far as hydro unit commitment is concerned, as a practice, there are two kind of hydros. One is storage, another is run of the river. So run of the river, there is no fun in committing. Whatever is available, if you don't use it, the energy gets waste. So it is kind of a must run. For the storage one, there is no unit commitment in classical sense, but there is always a unit commitment in terms of when they are invoked by the load dispatchers. They are mostly invoked historically to meet the peak ramp up requirement, and of course to for energy arbitrage between peak and off-peak periods of the day, of the season, and it is not done, a mathematical commitment is not done 90% classically because the overall time to come to online and get offline, it is mostly a people process. So you have to have the people who can operate, you have to sensitize the people downstream, they should not get hurt by the sudden release of water. So that's more of a people process, not of energy loss or other process. So that's not done mathematically, but yes, as time plays around, maybe that will also come in.
And sir, one more question is there that there are certain power plants that are privately owned and there are certain power plants that are jointly owned. So how to involve all these plants and when we are trying to go for unit commitment studies or and economic dispatch also?
Yes, so that is that is a area where regulators are working overtime. Section 62, 63 generators, where all of them should be participating. More so because Section 63 are new ones and they are much more efficient. And if they participate, they rather than forcing the Section 62 historical ones, that is not really an optimum. But these are the area where regulation will have regulator and electricity, maybe the decision makers and the policy will have to be forcefully come across and commit, so that load dispatchers can seamlessly commit and they focus only on energy and overall power system flexibility and not get entangled into the commercial roadblocks. But yes, currently it is not a 100-meter smooth rate, it's a hurdle race.
Yes, thanks, sir. And my final question is, what is the future plan of implementing automatic generation control? Because since in India, I think more of the power plants are just running on RGMO mode rather than FGMO. So we are planning to move into FGMO. But what will be the plan of implementing AGC?
Let me say you that FGMO mode is not FGMO mode is now mandated, and as a load dispatcher till the end of the last month, this was one of my commitment. Every month, I have to come up with a report if there is an incident. What are the power plants which have actually been able to perform, and what are the plants which are not performing as per FGMO. And there is a regulation which I which you can search through, that all the plants are mandated to, and LDCs are required to analyze their performance. So FGMO is not planned, FGMO is mandated. They are being operated, but 100% all the time, everyone, yes, we have a maturity cycle there. And the role is being played by load dispatchers as well as regulators. As far as AGC is concerned, there are challenges in terms of tools availability at load dispatch centers. NLDC has a tool, so they are increasingly step by step encouraging, and more units are coming into the AGC fold. That during my tenure, the one of the private player who was connected, though it was a state generating plant, it expressed its desire. We also said it will be good, and they are now getting connected and getting controlled through regional, national load this AGC signal. At the same time, states are under what I said, SCADA ULDC phase 3. States are getting the AGC tools, and parallelly there are generators which are getting testing and upgrading themselves for receiving those AGC signals. So next year should see substantial activities building up the more portfolio at a state level with the change in Electricity Act, proposed changes, more state regulators will mandate it, and I see that in a couple of years, max 3 years, you will see substantial chunk of balance generators who can efficiently perform automatic generation control will perform, and that's the only way we can actually enhance our renewable portfolio.
Because, sir, in EMS system, we are already having a provision of sending the AGC signal. For ULDC phase 3, I was working as EMS lead for implementation of EMS system in NRLDC and ERLDC.
Yeah.
So provision was there, and
yes, it is being deployed as we are speaking. The ULDC phase 3 is being deployed. So control centers are equipped. State generating stations will be equipping as well, and regulators will be coming more, putting more monitoring, more obligatory, and I anticipate that 26-27 should be you should see a sea change. 27 maximum, definitely 26. Of course, there will be stabilization of ULDC phase 3 AGC in states, load dispatch centers.
thanks, sir. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, well.
Any other questions? So I have one question for Mishra sir. I'm seeing that there is a lot of renewable penetration nowadays. Wind and solar penetration is going up, but these state load dispatch centers are not maintaining the SCADA data of renewable energy on their websites. So if you want someone and use of renewable forecasting or load forecasting is very minimal by the load dispatch centers. So are there any, because Western countries are very much particular about giving the data on their websites, how much will be the renewable, historical data of the renewable energy and load on their website so that people can use them and can develop their models. And in turn, they can use their models in order to improve operational efficiencies. So what is the reason that in India, people are not, specifically load dispatch centers are not providing this data for the research purpose?
There are three reasons, I'll say. One, that they do not have data. They are not conscious. That's only partial. That's applicable for newer ones. Number two, there is no collaboration. There is no mandate. Nobody asks them or forces them to deliver it. That's one more reason. So I have been approached as director of SLDC Uttar Pradesh. Then I have worked around with my team and made available some data to the Center for Electricity Regulations, the IIT Kanpur. But it is more of, somebody intervening to give as a favor. No, you are right. It should be made available as a as a information where multiple people can actually come up with their solution and we can benefit. So yes, that problem is there, more of a procedure and a lack of mandate and change, inertia of people in terms of changing their habits. So I think that's one area where state regulators and load dispatchers will have to be much more proactive, and they should break from their habitual shackles of not sharing data.
Uh, I'm sorry, sir. I would like to add something. In ULDC phase 3, actually, the renewable forecast is getting implemented. Uh, I think in Punjab, it has already been implemented, PSPCL. But in all of this NR region and ER region, there was some requirement regarding renewable forecast also. So they are getting implemented in this ULDC phase 3.
Yeah, what you are right. You are saying what SLDCs will be doing, but Mr. Agrawal, what he was saying is why the data is not shared. Because remember, what SLDCs will do, they will come up with a number and they'll improve that accuracy. But that is one set of people, one set of solutions. If you start at five set of people and five set of solutions, you will be faster to get to the accuracy. So data making available transparently to the larger community has to be a goal. Of course, SLDCs are gearing up. Even a dedicated uh, renewable energy management centers, an initiative was taken by Government of India in the year 2016, I think, or so, and 11 renewable rich estate, rather I think a 12th one also. 11 renewable energy management centers were set up at
But
some
the,
at RLDCs, NLDCs, and some renewable energy rich state as well. And they do forecast and they come up with the results. But this question is about making available the data to the larger community for optimization and better solutions. And that he is right, is spot on. That's a gap.
and I have seen that REMCs are also not very much active, and in Punjab itself, not much sharing of data and not much sharing of the activities which can improve renewable penetration.
That's a gap between academia and practitioners, which has to, you know, which we should have bridged yesterday, I'll say.
Yes, sir. Sir.
So all I'll encourage, as a leader at UPSLDC, I have initiated MOU signing with IIT Kanpur. Of course, all academia, they should also have that initiative, and there is no harm in mandating them as part of technical education. that these entities should share these data or insights, however dated they are. So maybe that will also come up.
So any other questions from the participants? If somebody wants to write in the chat box, he can write. So I will speak it out. So no questions. Should I wind up?
I think that's the right way. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And thank you all for the patience.
Thank you, sir. So our next.
Yeah, the content is already shared. It is with the institute.
Yes, sir. Sure.
There is a chat box. Okay. Thank you.
I'm highly thankful to Mishra sir for sharing his insights regarding how the Indian power system is operating. Our next session will be of Dr. Hemant Saxena from DSpace India Solutions. It will start at 2 p.m. So thank you.